Hey guys, how's it going? It's Mike McLaren really quick. I just kind of wanted to give you this video. I'm working on an update video, but I just wanted to give you something in the meantime that's just really reflective of how I currently think and the direction that I'm taking my content and my brand. And I just wanted to give you something current, something fresh, hot off the presses. I'm going to work on the update video because now I'm getting back into the swing of things. So I won't say too much right here. I'm just going to let the video play. I'll say a little something afterwards, and stay tuned because more is on the way. We're back in action. Stop provoking inspiration at its best. Oh, and really quick, this video is just talking about how intellect has limitations. You could get really far with intellect, but at the end of the day, it has limitations, and you have to look for something else. Something greater than intellect, which is greater than you, in order to find true, complete freedom and liberation. The video will talk about it. I'll say a little bit more afterwards. Hello guys. Welcome to one of the first reinvented installments of thought-provoking inspiration. And for this episode, I would like to give some type of insight into the limitations of intellect and the limitations of the mind. Although the mind is extremely, extremely marvelous and fascinating and can go very, very far, dimensions far. At the end of the day, the mind is limited, and those limitations can be the wall, the barrier, or the dimension that withholds you from eternal or infinite bliss within yourself, pleasantness within yourself. And to demonstrate that, I want to talk about the concept between this water fountain and the water which comes out of it. Think of the water fountain as the mind, and the water is obviously water. Look how beautiful that is. Just look at it. And the water is the water. Generally speaking, what is more fascinating? What is more infinite in this case? I think many will agree that the water is more fascinating and more infinite. So although the water fountain itself is extremely marvelous and fascinating, extremely, I mean, look, I do this and on demand, I get access to this beautiful, wonderful life source called water. It's extremely fascinating, but the thing is, this water fountain is stagnant. The only way I can ever see this water fountain, use this water fountain, experience this water fountain, is if I come to this literal one geographic location. And even still, the water fountain is stagnant. It's just there. I have to come here and do this in order to get sweet bliss out of it. That makes the water fountain itself, being the mind, extremely limited. Although it's fascinating, marvelous, it could take you extremely far, dimensions far, which is very far. It's very, very limited. This water, this right here, look at that. This same thing exists in the this same thing exists somewhere in the Grand Canyon. Somewhere, I'm sure there's a water hole out there somewhere. Niagara Falls, it exists there. It exists in the ocean. This same thing exists in our bodies. in our bodies. It's the very, very source of life. So although the water fountain is extremely, extremely fascinating, its possibilities is limited. And that's sort of how the mind is. It's extremely fast, but look, it's stagnant. This thing cannot get up and go anywhere. But the water which comes out of it has complete freedom, complete expression. We don't exist without it. We don't exist without this. So the water fountain is extremely fascinating. Look at that, on demand. It does what I want it to, on demand. That is an extremely fascinating instrument. But the problem is, it is extremely limited. Look at all this mechanics going on. I know I need to clean up down there, but this video is not about that. Look at all these mechanics that's going on. If any of these mechanics experience failure, this entire device can malfunction or cease to operate. So that's the difference between the mind and the water. The water is just life. So look at that. Even when the big body is gone, you can still see little specks on my, that is fascinating. I'm sorry. I am very fascinated by that. So water fountain is mind. Water is life. And that is why the mind can only take you so far. Because its possibilities are limited. Even if it's 90%, that's only so far. Because it has possibilities. And that extra 10% will literally haunt you. Maybe for the rest of eternity. Because you cannot get that extra 10% until you just choose to be life. Just choose to be. And one more important thing is being life is not a sense of wielding any essence or wielding any power. It's just life. This is an episode, maybe the first episode of the rebirth of thought-provoking inspiration. I go by the label of Mike McLaren, and I will bring more. And one last bonus thing I do want to mention at the end of this video is, although we can understand this water fountain, I'm sure you break down the engineering, you can understand it. Somewhere, I don't make water fountains, so I specifically don't know it. We can understand the water fountain through and through. In fact, it was created. We can never understand this. Understand this. Look at that. Even when it dries up, it turns a different color. Little parts clean. We can never understand this. Never understand this. And that's why intellect is very limited. Because the mechanics of the water fountain is limited, its position is limited, its mobility is limited. But this is as infinite as can be. And that goes for all living things. That's where your bliss is at. Not with this. And here's one more quick bonus for you. Instead of trying to learn everything, instead of trying to know everything, start focusing on trying to become everything. And that's when you become everything. You could try to learn all you want. I promise you, you would burn 5 lifetimes. And this is all paraphrased from a man, Sadhguru. I mean, it's so perfectly articulated, I don't need to change the word. And you know, you would die a frustrated man or woman every single time if you try to learn everything, because this life is infinite, it's endless, it's boundless. You will never learn everything, and that's where there's limitations with that. All right, so now that you done seen the video, you know, I just want to elaborate just a little bit. The main point, and maybe everybody won't get this, and that's fine. You know, I'm just putting it out there, but the main point is the intellect has limitations. That might be the title of this video. The intellect has limitations. Anything that is of life, I'm talking water, I'm talking trees, I'm talking flowers, I'm talking birds, I'm talking the wind, I'm talking the ocean, I'm talking dogs, I'm talking tigers, lions, cats, just a few off the top of my head. Anything that is of life, I'm talking the sun, the moon, the stars, anything that is already of creation is where the infinite is at. And I say that because so much of us tend to put especially here in the Western society in America where I live, we tend to put so much emphasis on intellect, you know, to be intelligent, to be intellectual, you know. But at the end of the day, intellect is nothing but what can be best articulated as psychological drama. I got that from Sadhguru, this Indian mystic. Psychological drama, that's all it is. Whether it's your likes or your dislikes, I'll make another video talking about the likes and dislikes and how that's psychological drama and how you get lost in that. It has limitations, don't get me wrong. You know, it could take you 70, 80, 85, 90% of efficiency, and that's really great. You can win NBA championships, you can win Super Bowls, you can make $1 million functioning off of the 80, 90% of efficiency. But the thing is, I already know if you're somebody that has worked your life energies, your life sources, and your spirit up to like 70, 80%, chances are you're still somewhat unfulfilled. Why? Because you want that 100%. I know you want that 100%, because if you push yourself this far to get this far with intellect, you want that 100%. And the problem is you will never get that 100% off of intellect. You got to somehow figure out how to tap into a different mentality, which takes you into a different frame of existence, which technically takes you into a different dimension of existence. And man, and to close it off, you know, great words from my great friend Jay Garland, aka Rapper Vigilante. He once told me a long time ago, maybe over 10 years ago, he said, what you let go of, heaven will release. If you let go of the intellect, heaven, metaphorically speaking, will release pretty much the world to you. And that's why intellect has limitations. But tap into the infinite, tap into creation, you go beyond, you go to the infinite, and that's where you get complete freedom. Thought-provoking inspiration. Stay tuned.